Hello everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thank you so much for joining me here. And we're going to take another look here at Bitcoin. Hope you're having an amazing day and a wonderful week. Happy Thursday to you. And just so you know, today is likely the very last day we have to deal with this wonderful audio quality. So I'll be back in my office likely within the next 24 to 48 hours. If you don't see a video from me tomorrow, don't worry. I'm just basically traveling back home. So suffice to say, at this point, we're going to take a look at Bitcoin, of course. Still in good shape. That's kind of the quick summary. We'll explain why and obviously get into detail. But if you're new to the channel, I just want you to know I'm not a financial advisor. I do love teaching people to trade, and I really hope you can learn something here today, okay? So if you do learn something, feel free to comment below. Feel free to become a community member. We've got an ever-growing community, and it's really awesome, and you can register there if you'd like it. CryptoCache.tech down in the description below. I offer signals, trading signals, also a trading academy, teach you how to become a better trader, and obviously an amazing community at your back. Thank you all to my current community members for just being fantastic. All right, so taking a look here at Bitcoin, what we want to start with is kind of just the obvious, right? We did lose a trend line yesterday. And to me, that's not a significant problem because we're still making higher lows. Okay, so just because you lose a trend line doesn't necessarily mean it's going to just turn around and shoot to the floor or to the moon because of that fact, right? Okay, it just means that we're no longer ascending and we might and will likely be range bound for a little while. Okay, and the range that we see here so far is anywhere between 22,300 upwards of about 25,200, or more importantly, just 23,000 to 25,000 is a good summary there. So there's a great chance that we're going to be range bound here and continue to retest those levels for some time. But the key here is that yesterday's close was higher than the most recent low. All right, and to me, that's higher lows, and we're still in good shape. So that's essentially why I opened a trade yesterday, because I felt comfortable with that. In addition to the fact that we had some overextension on TD sequential in the shorter time frames, we can look at that too. We're also experiencing a bounce off 50 in the RSI, and this is a positive sign here, of course. Granted, the trading day isn't over, but we closed above 50 in the RSI, and that's really helpful. Gives us the indication that we're still tentatively bullish. All right, so it's just kind of one of those things where you got to kind of I would say take it with a grain of salt, but in general, when it comes to the RSI, 50 is a really strong support or resistance level, specifically on the daily. And that's something I like to use almost exclusively, in addition to many other indicators. So I guess it's not all that exclusive. But it's the time frame that I find to be the most beneficial for the RSI 50, if you will. All right, that being said, we did lose 20 on the simple moving average. Not a big deal. That is typically moving concurrent with the trend lines, which it was. We no longer have that trend line, so of course we lost it. We do have the 50-day simple moving average working to our advantage here, right around 22,200. So if you're going to open a trade, hypothetically, a support level at 22,200, which is also a key level Fibonacci, is an important area to possibly consider putting your stop loss just below that level, right? Because again, if the price were to come back down that low, we have a likely support there with the 50. It's notoriously been a very strong support level. So you could say in the world of trading, 50 is a good, happy number. So taking a look here at the 4-hour, something to recognize also is that we are coming down closer to the 200. We're still above it. That's important. That's the most important indicator for me on the 4-hour time frame. So I'm happy that we're still remaining above. So I think we're still in good shape there. Even though we are under 50 on the RSI on the 4-hour, I'm not super concerned with it based on the fact that the price has pretty much been wavering in and out of that, and we're still making higher lows on the shorter and longer time frames. Another thing to recognize too, and this isn't here yet, of course, hasn't come to full fruition, you can see the bears losing this momentum, okay, which implies the bulls are starting to gain control. Now, again, we're not there yet. We haven't converged yet. Even if we were to converge, it doesn't necessarily mean that we have to take a trade, but this is a pretty good sign here if you take it in combination with the other support levels, right? Furthering that, let's go ahead and take a look at the hourly and see where we're at. We're probably still underneath the cloud, if I'm not mistaken, since yesterday, of course. So, in essence, right now, we don't have a long or short position that should be viable, right? That's just the kind of the bottom line. If you were to use this only on its own, then you can see that a short position shouldn't be open any longer. You should have closed your short by now, because the conversion line baseline just moved. Basically, the conversion line is above the baseline now, and lag and spend is in the price action. So when those two things happen, that really just kind of gives you the indication that the momentum has lost itself in that direction it was heading, and that you should consider switching gears and changing directions. Again, we're still under the cloud. We haven't broken through the lower or upper lead yet. We're not even close to that. We probably won't be there for another 24 to 48 hours, depending on today's price action. But hypothetically, we're moving up more likely than we are moving down moving forward. Okay, again, just something to consider. Taking a look at TD sequential, here's that overextension I mentioned yesterday, and we hit that 9 on TD sequential, wicked up and down a couple of times, and continued sideways from there. So I like to see that. Honestly, I think it's a great sign. We also saw something very similar on the 4-hour too, where we hit a 9 on TD sequential, and look at that. Coincidentally, it's come back up from there. So again, it's a very good indicator, really helping us understand where we're at. One last thing I want to kind of reiterate too here is the Gann fan. This does kind of tell us that we're in good shape here, because if you look at the, see, let me stretch it out a little bit, you can see we're still working within this trend here, and that there's an ascending type of trend as well based on previous patterns. So essentially, and that's why I set 23,000 as a potential second entry for a Bitcoin position, because if we do wick down from there, we have a likely supports not only at Fibonacci, but also on the Gann fan. Okay, so again, just something to kind of think about and consider, I guess you could say. Again, when you're looking at trading, technical analysis, the whole 9 yards there, you're trying to identify patterns that are changing. Okay, now the thing we want to also recognize in the hourly is that, big picture, large time frame, we are still making lower lows, but in the immediate, relative near future, or most recent past rather, we are making higher lows. Okay, so you can see that shift in momentum. I'm going to feel much more comfortable when we break above 24,000, but for now, that's essentially where we're at. There's a strong likelihood of retesting 24,000, I feel, in this next little push up. It might be something similar to this, but I think it'll probably be something that consolidates at 24 and continues to retest 25. It just kind of feels like it wants to go that direction. So again, once more, when you're using technical analysis, the whole 9 yards here, we're just extracting information from each time frame to kind of come to an informed decision. There's no 100% either direction. It's rare that you're going to see that. But from what we've seen here so far, there's probably a good 60, 70, maybe even 80% probability the price is going to continue higher based on a lot of the factors that we just looked at. Again, most of them are key level supports, and most of them are overextensions that have reversed themselves. But oftentimes, a lot of trading can be done on those specific things. Again, obviously, there is a chance the price could continue lower. There's no doubt about that. That's why I've had and put in additional entry targets on our trades that we have through our signals that I send out. But on the same accord, we may not even hit that, and we could just continue higher. It feels like Bitcoin wants to jump from here because we're getting a lot of consolidation at this price point, and we are still making higher lows on the smaller time frames. So those are little things I like to focus on. So I would say 70-30 probability of the price action coming up from here. But again, it's all odds, and that's really what you need to understand when you're becoming a trader, right? It's just how much risk do you want to take per trade. I recommend a small amount of risk per trade when it comes to situations like these, so we don't have full-on confirmation that we are, bullish by any stretch. But we have broken the descending trend line in the overall sense, so we're likely going to be range bound in a very large range between, say, 20,000 and 28,000. But I think it's much more likely we're going to hit 28,000 first before we see 14,000 if that even were to happen. Okay. Again, a lot of key level supports on the monthly and weekly as well that we're above now at this point. Okay, just know, one last little disclaimer here, September is notoriously a red month, so be on the lookout. Next month we could very well see that correction. All right, well, that's pretty much all I have for you here today. I hope that you learned something, and obviously if you did, comment below, all that good stuff. Thank you to all my current community members, of course, for just being awesome, and once again, be patient, try to find the right trades, and do not fear of missing out or buy into that concept. It's a path to the dark side. All right. Well, I hope you all have a great rest of your day. We'll see you soon. Thank you so much.